All right, let's get after it. Maundy just means commandment, okay? It's a French take on a Latin word, which just means commandment. So we could easily call it Commandment Thursday, although I don't know if that would make things less confusing for people. You see, because at its very core, the essence of this day is far less about how we serve others, and it is far more about how God has served us. You see, we're in the midst of Passion Week, the last week of Jesus. And we find this incredible moment where Jesus is in a rented room with Team Jesus and feet are still kind of damp. He just washed them and really nobody in the room was comfortable with what Jesus had done. You could say that the mood in the room was a mixture of awkwardness and confusion and maybe some swelling love as they started to gather what it was that Christ had actually done. In fact, we find this moment where Peter himself says, "Don't touch my nasty feet, they're grody. It's not a job for you." He pivots and says, "Wash all of me," when he started to gather the value and the weight of that moment. You see, Christ made himself subservient by putting a towel on and washing nasty things from nasty feet. And this was a job that was reserved for an invisible and forgettable lower class. And he was happy to do it as an example for you, as an example for me. And now this is what he says a little bit later on in John 13:34. Okay, he says, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You also are to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Okay, here's the thing though. The commandment was not new to them. They'd heard it before. In fact, likely they'd heard it their whole life, at least several times, even from Jesus' mouth. It was about as cutting edge as Leviticus. It goes all the way back to the 19th chapter of Leviticus where God says, "Love your neighbor as yourself." So why does he call it new here? It's obviously not new. And why do we care? How does it reform our life? It's new because it is a new motivation that we have to care for others. We now see service through the prism of the gospel, the story of what God had done for us. And that had not existed before, which is why this is new. So when you serve others, it's not just a reflection of your devotion and your commitment to Jesus. It's actually more of a reflection of Jesus's devotion and commitment to us. It's backwards, right? Our commandment is new because now we serve out of an overflow of what God has done for us, not as an application to get God to do something for us. So we aren't commanded to love others as much as we are commanded to love others from this posture and this place of being loved, which is hard. It's hard, right, for some of us. I mean, there's a big difference. This is why it's so hard for a lot of us to serve other people. We can't believe that the gospel is really true for us. We can't accept Jesus washing our trash, our feet, our souls, and yet we'll go out and we'll try to serve others as an image of the gospel. And it doesn't work. Now, sure, Jesus is an example. He says as much in the very same passage, but he was much more than an example. He was a rescuer, rescuing you, not just from your sin, but from your attempts to wash your own sin, to clean your own junk, to appear more righteous by your own abilities. And now, listen, if he saved us and he served us, we are free to serve others, to love others, those who are difficult. If you can believe this kind of a news, and we have Jesus as an example, then you can serve others who are difficult, who have damaged you, who are ridiculously difficult. You can serve them. But if you cannot let Jesus wash your feet, if you can't believe something as beautiful as the gospel, then your attempts to serve others could very well be just an attempt to make yourself feel better, or it could be an attempt to get God to like you more. Both are anti-gospel. Both pretend that what Jesus did on the cross was not sufficient. So, this Maundy Thursday, before you put a towel on, whatever that looks like, and try to serve other people, can you, like Peter, celebrate Jesus washing your soul? Can you celebrate what he has done for you, that you can go and do the same for others? Because this is the starting point for a robust life of a disciple who serves others. This is a picture of the gospel. So have a great Maundy Thursday. And listen, if you are looking for a place to have an Easter service, we're excited to have you at Legacy Church at 10:30. We're at West High School on Sutherland Avenue. We're only having one service. We have a large theater, so there's no need for RSVPs. Would love to see you there. Have a great weekend.